How did one private affair turn into papers served in public, with my name on every page? Why did my husband stay calm for months, then end everything in one lawful move that nobody could argue with? My name is Valancy Stirling. I was 34 then, and I worked in HR at a logistics company. People always think HR is soft. It is not. HR is rules, power, and stories. If you control the story, you control the room. I knew how to do that. At home, I also controlled the story. I told myself it was normal. I told myself I carried the marriage on my back. Evan was my husband. He was 36, and he worked long hours too, but in a different way. He liked plans. He liked silence. He liked to act like a good man in front of other people. At first, that looked safe. Later, it felt like a cage. I started saying he did not see me. I started saying he cared more about being correct than being kind. When I said those things, they sounded true in my head. I still think some of them were true. That morning started like many mornings. The kitchen smelled like coffee and toast. The kids were at the table, Lily drawing on a paper and Caleb pushing cereal in circles. Evan stood by the sink and looked at his phone. I watched him watch his phone. It bothered me that he could stare at a screen and look calm, while I felt like my chest had too many thoughts inside it. Evan asked if I could do school pickup later. I said I had a late meeting at work. He asked what meeting. I said it was HR stuff, and I could not explain every detail. He said he only wanted to plan the day. I said he always wanted to plan the day because he liked control. He did not raise his voice. He only nodded like he was counting something in his head. Lily asked why Dad looked sad. I said he was tired, and I told her to finish her breakfast. Evan asked if we could talk after the kids left. I said we could talk, but I also said he always picked bad times. He looked at me and asked why I sounded angry. I said I was not angry, I was just honest. That was one of my favorite words. Honest. I used it like a shield. While Evan packed the kids' bags, I checked my own phone. I had a message preview from Noah. It was short and I did not open it. I did not need to. I already knew what it would say. It would say he missed me, or he wanted to see me, or he hated waiting. Noah was Evan's best friend, and that was the point. When someone is close to your husband, he also gets close to your life. It felt like a secret room inside my own house. Evan came back into the kitchen and asked who I was texting. I said it was Tessa from work. He asked why I smiled at the screen. I said I was allowed to smile. He said he did not say I was not allowed. Then he said he felt like I was far away, even when I was standing in front of him. I told him he was being dramatic. I told him he should try being fun again. I said he was not the same man I married. I liked saying that because it made him feel guilty, and guilt made him quiet. We left the house in a rush. Evan drove the kids to school. I drove to the office. In the car, I practiced the face I would wear today. At work, people liked me. They said I was fair. They said I was strong. They did not see how tired I was of pretending to be fine at home. I told myself I deserved a private happiness because I worked so hard. I told myself Evan did not give me the kind of attention I needed. I did not call it cheating in my mind. I called it balance. The office was loud with keyboards and phones. The lights were too white. I walked past the open plan desks and went to my spot. Tessa waved at me and asked if I was okay. I said I was busy. She asked if Evan was still acting strange. I said he had moods lately. I said he watched me like I was a suspect. Tessa laughed and said men get weird when women grow. I liked that line. It made me feel like I was growing, not breaking rules. I opened my laptop. I had real work to do, but my eyes went to my phone again. Noah sent another message. I did not open it right away. I waited until my screen faced away from other people. Then I read it. He said he could meet later. He said he had a window after a client call. He also said Evan asked him to grab a beer this week. Noah wrote that part like a joke, but it did not feel like a joke. My stomach tightened, but I told myself it was fine. Evan and Noah had been friends forever. They always met for beers. That meant nothing. Still, I typed back fast. I said I could not meet in the usual places. I said Evan was paranoid. I put that word in quotes like it was funny. Then I added a smile emoji. I wanted Noah to feel calm. I wanted him to keep wanting me. Wanting me was proof that I still had power. Around lunch, I had to step into a meeting with my manager. He asked about a complaint from a warehouse lead. I answered with my calm work voice. I did my job well. That part was true. After the meeting, I went to the restroom and checked my phone again. Evan had texted once. He asked if we could talk tonight after the kids slept. He added, "Please." I stared at that word longer than I wanted to. Then I told myself he only wrote "please" to make me feel bad. I typed back that I would be late and he should not wait up. He asked why I would be late. I said an employee issue came up. That was not even a full lie. HR always has issues. It was easy to hide inside a half-truth. When I came back to my desk, my coworker passed by and pointed at my screen. She asked if I was organizing finances again. I had a spreadsheet open, but it was not about finances. I quickly closed it. I said I was tracking staff training hours. She shrugged and walked away. Later in the afternoon, I noticed a small new thing. A file on my phone synced by itself. I saw the little message that said a file uploaded successfully. It was not my usual habit to notice that, but lately, everything felt sharp, like the air itself was watching me. I told myself it was stress. I told myself Evan's attitude was stressing me out. I blamed him for my own fear. When my shift ended, I sat in my car and stared at the steering wheel. I could have driven straight home. I could have walked into the kitchen and acted normal. But normal felt like losing. I wanted a life where I did not have to explain myself to a man who looked at me like a question mark. I drove toward home anyway. At a stoplight, I checked my phone again. Noah sent one more message. He asked if I was sure about tonight. I typed that I was sure. Then I paused. I looked at my wedding ring. I told myself the ring was a symbol, not a prison. I told myself Evan pushed me to this by making me feel small. When I finally got home, Evan was in the hallway with the kids' backpacks lined up neatly. He asked if I could help Lily with her reading later. I said I would try. He asked what time I would be home for real. I said I did not know. He asked why I could not just say a time. I said he was not my boss. He looked at me for a long second, then he looked away. As he turned, his phone lit up on the counter. I saw a calendar reminder flash for one moment. It said, downtown, 9:40 a.m. I did not know what it meant. I only knew he did not usually put things in his calendar like that. He picked up the phone fast and turned the screen down. I asked him what that reminder was. He said it was nothing important. I said he never had nothing important reminders before. He asked why I was suddenly interested in his phone. I said I was not interested, I was just noticing things. He nodded again, slow and careful, like he was putting a lid on something. I went to the bedroom and shut the door harder than I needed to. Then I took out my phone and deleted Noah's messages for the day. My thumb moved fast, like this was a small cleaning job. As soon as I cleared the thread, that same cloud message appeared again. File uploaded successfully. I stared at it and felt my mouth go dry. I told myself it was just my phone being my phone, but I also knew something had shifted in the house, and I could not name it yet. The next day, I acted like nothing happened. I made lunches, I found Caleb's missing sock, and I kissed Lily's hair like I was a kind mother in a calm home. Evan watched me in a way that made my skin itch. He did not accuse me. That was the worst part. I could fight an accusation. I could not fight quiet eyes. Evan asked if I slept well. I said yes. He asked why I looked tired. I said I had too much work. He said he could take the kids to school again if I needed time. I said I did not need help, and I said he always tried to act like a hero when he was guilty. He asked what he was guilty of. I said he knew. He did not push. He just nodded and put his mug on the other side of the counter. He used to put it next to mine. Now there was space like a line. At work, Tessa met me at the coffee machine. She asked if Evan was still doing his thing. I said he was worse. I said he watched my phone and asked questions like I was on trial. Tessa said men do that when they lose control. I liked that idea. I liked the word control when it was not attached to me. Around noon, Tessa said Marcus was planning a group night at the sports bar. She said it would be good for me to get out. She asked if I would bring Evan. I said I would, but I said it would be awkward because Evan did not know how to relax. Tessa laughed and told me to treat him like a co-worker, not a husband. That made me laugh too, even though it was mean. I messaged Noah after lunch. I told him about the bar night. He replied fast. He said he would be there and he would keep it normal. I told him normal was fine. Then I added that Evan had been paranoid. Noah sent a short reply that he understood. I could feel him trying to be careful, and I hated that. I wanted him to be bold. I wanted him to want me more than he feared Evan. That evening, we drove to the bar with the kids at Evan's parents' house. Ruth had asked to keep them for a few hours. Evan said it would be good for the kids to have calm time. I said his mother always tried to steal family time. Evan said Ruth only wanted to help. I said help was just control in a nicer outfit. He did not respond. The sports bar was loud and bright. TVs flashed above the tables. People shouted at games they did not play. Marcus waved us over. Tessa was already there with 2 other co-workers. Noah was at the far end, standing like he was waiting for someone important. When he saw me, his mouth moved like he almost smiled. Then he stopped himself. He looked at Evan and clapped him on the shoulder like a brother. Evan asked Noah how work was going. Noah said it was fine and he was busy. Evan said they should catch up soon. Noah agreed too fast. I watched Evan's face when he said it. He looked normal. He sounded normal. That annoyed me because I wanted him to look like the problem. We sat at a high table. Marcus asked how marriage life was. I laughed and said Evan was the same old Evan. Tessa asked what that meant. I said it meant he could make a budget for a weekend trip, but he could not make a joke without checking if it was safe. People laughed. Evan smiled a little, but his eyes stayed flat. He asked if we could not make him the joke tonight. I said I was only teasing and he was too sensitive. Tessa asked if Evan ever got jealous. I said he acted like jealousy was love, and it was exhausting. Evan asked when he ever acted jealous. I said he questioned my late nights and my phone. He said he only asked because he missed me and he worried. I turned to the table and said he always tried to sound sweet when he was actually controlling. Marcus shifted in his seat. Noah looked down at his drink. Someone at the next table took a group photo and posted it. Tessa leaned over and said we should post one too. She said couples who post look happy, and happy makes people shut up. I liked that. I wanted the photo. I wanted proof that I was fine. Evan asked if we could take the photo without forcing smiles. I said he always made everything heavy. I told him to just stand closer. Noah stepped in too, like he was part of the couple photo. Evan did not notice, or if he noticed, he did not show it. After the photo, the jokes kept coming. Tessa asked if Evan ever surprised me. I said he surprised me once by buying the wrong brand of shampoo. People laughed again. Evan said he could not win because I would complain either way. I said that was not true, and I said he just did not try hard enough. Noah asked Evan about a game they watched in college. Evan answered, but his voice was quiet. It sounded like he was talking from far away. At some point, Evan asked me if we could leave early. I said no. I said he always tried to pull me away from friends because he did not like being seen. He said he was fine being seen, but he did not like being insulted. I said it was not an insult if it was true. Then I looked at the group like I had won something. Marcus asked me softly if I thought I was being fair. I said fair was not the point, and I said respect follows results. I told him I had results in my life, and Evan had comfort. I said comfort makes people lazy. Marcus did not answer. When we finally left, Evan walked ahead of me to the parking garage. Noah stayed back for a second and asked if I was okay. I said I was great. I told him Evan was just acting like a victim. Noah said Evan looked tired, not angry. I said tired was his weapon. Noah did not argue. In the garage, Noah leaned close for a moment like he wanted to say more. He said Evan had been watching patterns lately and asking small questions. I said Evan always did that because he liked to feel smart. I told Noah not to worry. I said Evan would never do anything real. That was what I believed then, or what I wanted to believe. On the drive home, Evan kept both hands on the wheel. He asked why I needed to embarrass him. I said I did not embarrass him. He embarrassed himself by being tense. He asked if I even liked him anymore. I said he was making it dramatic again. He asked why I could not answer. I said he was not owed a nice answer just because he asked nicely. When we got home, I went straight to the bathroom and checked my phone. Noah had sent a message that said he felt sick about tonight. He said the jokes went too far. I did not reply right away. I stared at the screen and felt annoyed, not guilty. I told myself he was being weak. I told myself he should have defended me, not Evan. In the hallway, Evan took off his jacket and set his phone on the console table. I heard a soft beep. It was small, like a device starting up. Evan picked up the phone again fast. I asked what that sound was. He said it was nothing, just an app. I asked what app. He said it was a reminder. I went into the bedroom and shut the door. I told myself he was trying to scare me. I told myself he wanted me to confess to something I did not have to confess to. I sat on the edge of the bed with my phone in my hand and tried to breathe like I was calm. But I kept hearing that beep in my head, like a tiny door closing somewhere I could not reach. The rooftop dinner came a few nights later, and I told myself it was a reset. I said it would prove we were normal. I said it would show Evan that I still had a life outside his moods. I also knew Noah would be there, because Marcus invited everyone. That part felt like a secret prize I did not have to admit. I took extra time getting ready. I chose a dress that looked simple but pulled eyes. I told myself it was for me. Evan watched from the bedroom doorway and asked if we were going to a wedding. I said it was a nice place, and I wanted to look like I belonged there. He asked if I wanted him to match. I said he could just wear something clean. On the drive, Evan asked if we could try not to fight tonight. I said we did not fight. He only complained. He said he felt like he could not do anything right with me. I told him he was finally learning. He gripped the steering wheel a little harder, but kept his voice steady. He said he wanted peace for the kids. I said the kids were fine, and he used them as a shield. The rooftop was crowded. Warm lights hung above us like small moons. Music played low, and people leaned close to talk. Phones were already up, taking photos of drinks and views. Tessa ran to me and said I looked amazing. I said I knew. She asked where Evan was. I pointed at him and said he was trying to look happy. She laughed. Noah arrived late. He walked in like he owned the space, smiling at the right people. When he saw Evan, he hugged him and said he missed him. Evan smiled back and said they should talk soon. Noah said yes, and his eyes flicked to me for half a second. That half second felt louder than the music. We sat at a long table near the railing. Marcus raised his glass and asked everyone to toast to good friends. People clinked glasses. Someone shouted for a group video. A phone camera lifted right in front of my face, and I leaned in like I was part of a happy story. Evan leaned in too, but he did it slow, like he was careful not to touch me too much. Tessa started it first. She asked me, loud enough for others to hear, if Evan still acted jealous. I said Evan did not act jealous. He acted like a detective. A couple of people laughed. Evan asked what that meant. I said it meant he watched my schedule and asked questions like I was a problem to solve. He said he only asked because I kept changing plans. I said plans change, and trust should not. Marcus asked Evan if he wanted to say something. Evan said he did not want to argue in public. I said that was his trick, because then I looked like the crazy one if I spoke. Evan asked why I always needed an audience. I said I did not need an audience. I just did not want private talks where he could twist my words. That was a lie, but it was a useful lie. It made people look at him like he might be scary, even though he never was. Noah tried to change the topic. He asked Evan about a work project. Evan answered with short sentences. His face looked calm, but the calm was new. It was not soft calm. It was hard calm, like a door that stays shut. That bothered me more than anger. Anger means someone is still in the room with you. I leaned toward Tessa and said Evan had been cold for months. Tessa asked if I thought he still loved me. I said, love is not enough if a man makes you feel small. I said I needed a partner, not a supervisor. A few women nodded like they understood. Evan heard it. He asked if I could stop speaking about him like he was not there. I said he always wanted to control the language too. A waiter brought food. Evan asked if I wanted to split a plate like we used to. I said no, because I did not want to share everything with him anymore. I watched his jaw tighten, and I felt a small rush. I told myself it was fairness. I told myself he had made me feel unwanted, so he should feel it now. Later, someone asked about our anniversary. Evan said the date and smiled for the first time all night. It looked real, and I hated that. I said, anniversaries do not matter if the daily life is bad. Evan asked what daily life I meant, because he paid bills, cooked, drove the kids, and still tried to talk. I said that was basic. I said emotional effort mattered more. He asked what emotional effort looked like to me. I said he should know if he cared. The table got quiet for a moment. Then Marcus lifted his glass again and said, we should all say one nice thing about the person next to us. People started doing it like a game. When it was my turn with Evan, I said he was responsible. I said it like it was a compliment, but it sounded like a label. Evan looked at me and said I was ambitious. His voice did not shake. I waited for him to add something warm. He did not. After dinner, people moved around for photos near the view. Tessa pulled me aside and said Evan looked checked out. I said he was doing it on purpose to punish me. She said maybe he was done. I laughed and said Evan could not be done, because I was the center of our family. I said he needed me more than I needed him. The words felt good in my mouth. We left after midnight. Evan said he did not want to drive because he felt tense, so we took the train. On the platform, he stood a step away from me, like we were strangers who happened to know the same children. I tried to lean into him, but he shifted his shoulder away without making a scene. I told myself he was being rude. I told myself I was the injured one. On the train, Evan sat across from me. He looked at his phone, not at mine. That was strange. He used to glance at my screen when I typed. Now he did not. He scrolled slowly, then tapped into something that looked like photos, then something else. I saw the top of the screen for 1 second, and I caught a label that made my stomach drop. It said, bank. I asked what he was doing. He said he was checking a few things. I asked what things. He said household things. I said he never used to check household things at midnight. He said he never used to need to. I felt heat rise in my face. I told myself he was implying I caused this. I told myself he was trying to scare me. A few stops later, his phone buzzed. The screen lit up with no caller ID. Evan stared at it for a second, then stood up and moved toward the door area, away from me. He answered without looking back. I could not hear his words, but his posture was controlled, like he was speaking to someone important. I watched him the whole time. I told myself it was rude to take a private call, but really I was afraid. I was afraid because he looked calm again. He did not look like a husband trying to win his wife back. He looked like a man making a plan. When he came back, I asked who called. He said it was a follow-up. I asked a follow-up to what? He said personal matters. I said he was hiding things now. He looked at me and said he learned from the best teacher. He did not smile when he said it. I looked out the train window and saw our reflection in the dark glass. Two people sitting apart, pretending space was normal. I told myself I still had control, because I could still speak, still laugh, still post a photo from the rooftop like nothing was wrong. But when we got off at our stop, Evan walked ahead again, and I followed, hearing the quiet click of a door closing somewhere inside my life. The next morning, the house felt different. It was the same walls, same cereal, same school bags, but the air had a sharp edge. Evan moved like he had a plan. He did not rush. He did not forget anything. He did not ask me what I wanted. That should have made me happy. I always said I wanted space. But when he stopped chasing me, the space felt like a threat. At breakfast, Lily watched us more than she ate. Caleb spilled milk, and Evan cleaned it up without a sigh. I waited for him to show anger. He did not. He only asked if I could do pickup at school that day. I said I had work again. He asked if I could try, because Lily had reading practice. I said he was using the kids to make me feel guilty. He said he was only asking for a clear plan. I told him clear plans were his addiction. When we got to the school pickup line later that afternoon, Evan was already there. That surprised me. I thought he had a site meeting. He stood near the gate, calm, with his phone in his hand. He nodded at other parents. He looked like the stable one. I hated how easy it was for him to look stable. I walked up and asked why he came. He said he wanted to be there. I asked if he came to watch me. He said no, he came for the kids. I said he was playing a role. He said I could call it what I wanted. Lily ran out and hugged him first. Then she looked at me like she was checking if it was safe. Caleb grabbed Evan's leg and asked for a snack. Evan gave him one from his pocket like he planned it. Lily asked why Dad had been sleeping in the guest room. Evan said he just needed better sleep. I jumped in and said Dad was being dramatic and needed space. Evan looked at me and asked if I could let him speak. I said I was only helping the kids understand. Lily's face changed. She did not cry, but her eyes looked heavy. On the drive home, Lily asked if we were mad at each other. Evan said grown-ups sometimes have problems, but kids are not the cause. I said kids always feel it, so maybe he should stop acting cold. Evan asked what cold meant. I said cold meant he stopped touching my shoulder, stopped checking in, stopped trying. He said he still cooked and still showed up, but he stopped begging. I said nobody asked him to beg. He said that was good because he was done begging. That evening, my mom called. Maureen always called when she smelled drama. She asked if Evan was still acting weird. I said he was worse because now he acted calm like I was nothing. Maureen said calm men are dangerous because they hide things. I liked hearing that. It made me feel like my fear was proof of his guilt, not mine. Maureen told me to bring the kids over on Saturday for a family dinner. She said Evan should come too, so everyone could see what's going on. Saturday came fast. We went to my mother's living room, where everything looked perfect and staged, like a photo. My sister Daphne was there too, with her phone already in her hand. She asked if Evan was ready to apologize. Evan asked what he was apologizing for. Daphne said for making me miserable. Evan said he did not know that was a fact. My mother said he should not talk like a lawyer. Evan said he was not talking like a lawyer. He was talking like a person who needed clear words. We sat at the table. The kids ate, and the adults watched each other. Maureen asked Evan why he did not compliment me anymore. Evan said he used to compliment me often. I said he only did it when it was easy, not when it mattered. Maureen said a husband's job is to keep his wife happy. Evan said his job was to be a good father and a good partner, but he could not control another adult's happiness. I said that was a weak answer. I said, love means effort. Evan asked what effort I wanted. I said, attention, romance, and respect. Evan said respect goes both ways. I laughed and said respect follows results, and I had results. Evan looked down at his plate like he was reading a list in his mind. Daphne tried to make it a show. She asked Evan why he always looked like someone died. Evan said he was tired. Daphne said, tired men blame women for their own issues. Evan said he was not blaming anyone. I jumped in and said he blamed me with his silence. Maureen nodded and said, silence is punishment. Evan said silence is also a boundary. Maureen acted shocked, like the word boundary was an insult. After dinner, I went to the bathroom and checked my phone. Noah had not texted me all day. That made me angry. I told myself he was scared. I told myself he was weak. Then I told myself it was fine, because I still had the story. Everyone here believed me. Everyone here looked at Evan like he was the problem. When we left, Evan carried Caleb to the car because he fell asleep. He did it gently. I wanted to say he only did it to look good. But the truth was, he always carried Caleb like that. I hated that the truth did not fit my story. The next day, we went to the supermarket because we needed basics. Evan offered to come with me. I said I could handle it alone. He said it would be faster if we split the list. I agreed because I did not want to look unreasonable. In the store, he pushed the cart and followed the list on his phone. He did not argue about brands. He did not tease me. He did not try to touch my hand. That silence again. At checkout, Lily asked if we could all watch a movie later. Evan said yes, if everyone could be kind. I said, kindness is hard when someone makes you feel ignored. Evan asked if I could not turn everything into an accusation in front of the kids. I said I was not accusing, I was explaining. Evan said explaining can still hurt. The cashier looked at us like she wanted to disappear. Outside, Evan opened the trunk and loaded the bags. When he pulled his keys out, I saw it. A new key on his ring. It was not for our house. It was shiny. Like it was new. I asked what it was for. He said it was just practical. I asked practical for what? He said for something he needed to handle. I said he was hiding things now. Evan said I did not like being on the other side of a closed door. On the drive home, I watched his hands on the wheel. They did not shake. His face stayed calm. I told myself calm was a mask. I told myself he was trying to set a trap for me. I told myself I was the one who deserved understanding. That night, after the kids went to bed, I heard a low sound from the office room. It was steady, like a machine working. I walked down the hall and paused near the door. The sound stopped. Then I heard a soft drawer close, a small click, like a lock. I stood there with my arms crossed, pretending I did not care. But I did care. I cared because he was not asking me anything anymore, and I could feel the story slipping out of my hands. I tried a new plan after that. If Evan would not explode, I would make him. I told myself I needed to see his real face. I told myself a real husband should fight for his wife. If he did not fight, it meant he did not care. That logic felt clean in my head, like a straight line. On Tuesday, I went to the gym after work. I did not even like the gym that much. I liked the lobby. I liked the glass doors and the bright lights and the feeling that people were watching. I liked public places because Evan behaved better in public. He never yelled. He never grabbed. He never did anything bad. That made it harder to prove my point. I walked in and saw Noah near the front desk. He wore a polo like he came from a client meeting. He looked surprised, but not happy. He asked what I was doing there. I said I could ask him the same. He said he had a meeting nearby and he was killing time. I said that sounded like an excuse. He told me to keep my voice down. I said he had been ignoring me. He said he was trying to be careful. I asked careful for who? He said for everyone. I told him that was a coward answer. He said it was not about courage, it was about consequences. I asked what consequences. He said Evan was different now. I laughed and said Evan was only acting calm to punish me. Noah did not laugh with me. He looked past me toward the entrance and asked if Evan knew I was here. I said Evan did not own my schedule. Noah said that was not what he meant. He said Evan had started asking small questions, like dates and times. He said Evan never used to ask that way. I felt heat in my face, but I kept smiling. I told Noah he was overreacting. I told him Evan would never do anything real. Noah said he was not sure anymore. Then he said he could not do this much longer. I asked what this meant. He said the situation. He did not say my name when he said it, and that hurt more than I expected. I turned it into anger right away because anger is easier. I told him he was using me for attention, and now he wanted to act moral. He said he never promised me a clean story. I said he did promise me he cared. He said he did care, but caring was not the same as being stupid. As I walked out, I saw Evan's car pull into the parking lot. My heart dropped, then lifted, like it wanted both fear and excitement. Evan stepped out, calm, in a plain jacket. He did not look surprised to see me. That made my stomach twist. Evan walked into the lobby and nodded at me like I was a coworker. Noah shifted his body like he wanted to disappear. Evan looked at Noah and asked how he had been. Noah said he was fine and he was just leaving. Evan said okay and told him to drive safe. His voice was polite. Too polite. Evan turned to me and asked if I was done. I asked what he meant. He said he came to pick up a form from a drop box nearby, and he thought he would also pick me up since I was here. I asked what form. He said it was personal. I told him he was hiding things again. He said I did not like it when other people had privacy. On the drive home, I tried to start a fight. I asked why he came to the gym at the exact time I was there. He said he did not plan it around me. I asked if he was watching my location. He said no. I said he was lying. He said I could believe what I wanted, but he would not argue in the car. I said he refused to argue because he wanted to look innocent. He said he wanted to drive safely. At home, the kids ran to us. Lily asked if we could all play a game. Evan said yes after dinner. I said I had work emails. Evan said okay. No complaint, no begging. That silence again. After the kids went to bed, I followed Evan into the stairwell area near the landing. It was a tight space, so he could not just walk away without passing me. I stood in front of him and asked if he even wanted to be married. He said he wanted peace. I said, peace is what people say when they give up. He said giving up and setting boundaries were different. I asked if he was planning something. He asked what I meant. I said he had new keys, weird reminders, and secret calls. He asked if I wanted to list my own secrets too. I said I had no secrets. He looked at me and said that was not true. I told him he was accusing me now. He said he was not accusing, he was noticing. I stepped closer and told him he was cold and cruel. I said he was making me feel like a stranger in my own home. He asked if I remembered how I made him feel at the bar and the rooftop dinner. I said those were jokes. He said jokes still leave marks. I said he was weak if words hurt him. He said words have weight when they come from your wife. I waited for him to raise his voice. I wanted him to slam a door so I could point to it later and say, see, he is unstable. But he only breathed in, slow, then out, slow. He asked if I was trying to provoke him. I said I was trying to get the truth. He said the truth did not need shouting. The next evening, Evan took the kids to his parents for dinner and asked if I wanted to come. I almost said no, but I went because I did not want them talking about me without me there. At Ruth and Leon's house, the dining table looked neat, like a place where rules live. Ruth asked me how work was. I said work was fine. Leon asked Evan if he was sleeping okay. Evan said he was sleeping better. Ruth asked if we were still doing the family weekend plan next month. Evan said plans might change. I said he could not just change plans without talking to me. Evan asked if I had been talking to him honestly lately. I said yes. Leon looked at me for a second too long, like he could see through my answers. After dinner, while Ruth packed leftovers, I saw Evan in the hallway with a small stack of folders. The labels were plain. One said utilities, one said household, one said bank. He slid them into a drawer and closed it. The drawer made a soft click like it locked. I asked what he was organizing. He said he was being responsible. I said he was being dramatic. He said I used to like responsibility when it benefited me. On the drive home, I told him he was acting like he planned to leave. He said he was acting like he planned to protect the kids from chaos. I told him the chaos was his attitude. He said the chaos came from lies. We got home and stood on the stair landing again, the same tight space. I asked him what he wanted from me. He said he wanted honesty and respect. I laughed and said, respect follows results, and he had no results lately. He did not flinch. He only looked tired, like a person who finally accepted a hard fact. Then he said he would handle it properly. He said he would not shout, and he would not beg, and he would not fight in front of the kids. He said I could keep telling stories, but he would focus on what could be proven. I went to the bedroom and shut the door, trying to tell myself I was still in control. But my hands shook when I picked up my phone, because properly sounded like a promise I could not interrupt. We met downtown because Evan said we needed to sign something for the kids' school, and he said it would be quick. He did not say courthouse. He did not say lawyer. He only texted an address and a time like it was a dentist appointment. I told myself he was bluffing. I told myself he was trying to scare me into acting sweet again. I called my mother on the way because I wanted backup. Maureen said she would come, and she said calm men always plan dirty things. The lobby smelled like paper and floor cleaner. People sat in rows with folders on their laps. A guard stood near the door and watched everyone like we were all the same. Evan stood a few steps away from me, not beside me. He looked clean and plain, like he wanted to disappear into the wall. I asked why we were here. Evan said it was the proper place for proper steps. I asked if he was really doing this to me. He said he was doing it for the children and for the truth. I laughed and said truth is flexible. He said proof is not. Maureen arrived and walked straight toward Evan. She asked what game he was playing. Evan said he was not playing a game. He said he had tried private talks and they failed. Maureen said I was a good wife and he was punishing me. Evan said he was not punishing anyone. He was setting boundaries with the law. A woman in a simple suit walked toward us and asked if I was Valancy Stirling. I said yes, and my voice came out sharp. She said she needed to confirm my identity. Evan stayed silent and watched the floor tiles like he had already practiced this moment. The woman handed me an envelope. She said I had been served. She said I could read it now or later, but the dates and rules started today. I felt heat rise in my face, like my body wanted to run. I opened it right there because I refused to look weak. The first page said dissolution of marriage. I wanted to laugh, but no sound came. The next pages were temporary orders. They were not emotional. They were plain. Evan asked if I wanted to sit. I said I did not need to sit. He said okay, and he kept his hands at his sides, like he did not want anyone to accuse him of anything. Maureen said the papers were lies. Evan said they were filings, not feelings. He said he had evidence attached, and he said I already knew what it was. I said he had nothing. He said he had 2 years of patterns. He said he had my deleted messages recovered from cloud backups. He said he had parking garage timestamps that matched my late meetings. He said he had badge records from my office that showed I left early on the nights I claimed I stayed late. He said he had screenshots of my own calendar changes and my own words, and he had witnesses from the bar and the rooftop dinner who saw me humiliating him. I tried to cut in and say Noah was like family. Evan said Noah's name did not matter as much as the timeline. He said the court did not care about my excuses, only my actions. I scanned the temporary orders again, and my stomach dropped harder. There was a parenting schedule effective immediately, with set pickup times and exchange locations. There was a rule that we would communicate only through a written app or email, no late-night calls, no surprise visits. There was a financial restraint order that stopped either of us from draining accounts or moving money around. There was a note about temporary use of the home for stability, and it was granted to Evan. I was given a move-out timeline and a list of allowed personal items to take first. I said he could not do that without talking to me. Evan said he did talk, and I mocked him. I said he was cruel. He said he was calm. A clerk called Evan's name at a window. Evan walked up, signed, and handed something back. The clerk stamped the pages with a dull thud that sounded like a door locking. Maureen started to argue louder, but the guard stepped closer, and the room went quiet around us. Evan looked at me once and said he would follow the order, and he expected me to follow it too. I looked past him and saw Noah across the hall for 1 second, staring at the floor like he did not know me. Then the clerk stamped again, and Evan took the copies, and I understood that my story did not matter anymore.